Hello everyone and welcome to my escape. Also, happy Valentine's Day. Today I wanted to be on theme. So I had this like red and white outfit picked out, you know, red, Valentine's Day, you get it. And then I put it on and I looked like an incredibly patriotic tribute to the Canadian flag. And I was like, I might just keep this for July 1st. So that one way, and then the only other piece of red I really had was this jacket. So I tried. So I'm really excited to make this video because today I will be tier ranking all the romances I read in 2022 in accordance to would they actually make it as a couple. Lots of people do this wrap up in December, but because I didn't have a channel in December, we're gonna do it on Valentine's Day instead, which I think works out. So I have 5 tiers, okay? I have soulmates. Not even God himself could tear them apart. These are people that could not survive without one another or would not want to. Next, I have lasting but wouldn't die if they lost each other. You know the vibe. Like, they would do well together. You know, these are probably the healthier, more realistic couples. And they would have like a lasting, loving relationship. The middle tier is they could make it barring rough times, probably need some couples therapy. But if everything went smoothly in life, they'd probably get by. Second from the bottom is short-term relationship at best. I don't care how long the relationship is in the book. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, this was a one-night stand at best, or this was a couple-week fling at best, you know? And I really don't care if the book has an epilogue. I don't agree with them all. And then the 5th one is never would or should have happened in the first place. This wasn't even a one-night stand. This was, I don't know what the author was thinking putting these 2 characters together, but nah, I am not here for it. Also, this video was getting pretty long when I tried to do summaries of the book and then ranking of the books, but most of these are pretty well known, so I'm just ranking them, and if you want to know what they're about, tune in for other videos, because I'll probably talk about them in a video later on. Please don't forget to like and subscribe down below. I post every Tuesdays and Fridays, and this week is all Valentine's Day themed, so subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, and come back on Friday. Let's get into it. So we're going to kick things off with the Twisted series. Twisted Love, I would honestly put in Soulmates. Did I love this book? No. But I'm thinking not even God himself could keep Alex away from Ava. And frankly, Ava needs a little psychopath in her life because she has some situations that she needs some backup in. So, you know what? They are soulmates. And also, we love a man who grovels, because, yes. Twisted Games, I think they're lasting, but they wouldn't die if they lost each other. And I would say that they're mostly lasting because it'd be too political to break up now, if you know what I mean. Twisted Hate is a short-term relationship at best, okay? That is just enemies to benefits, is really all that should have been, okay? Have a couple fun nights and then move on. You're both busy. You never got past the enemies part. You're really both just there for the banter and the sex, so call it what it is, be happy with that, and then move on with your lives. Twisted Lies never should or would have happened in the first place. Tell me a single thing Stella and Christian have in common. Literally nothing. Not their goals, not their outlook on life, nothing. I don't think they respect each other. I don't even think they actually like each other. I think Christian's a little obsessed and Stella was backed into a corner. Never would or should have happened. A little bit later, it happened one summer. Lasting for sure. I love Brendan and Piper, and I don't think that they're soulmates because since I labeled it not even God himself could keep them apart, I'm now thinking that's going to be a pretty toxic column, you know? Like, they can't survive without one another. Brendan and Piper are well balanced and happy, and I think that they'd have a loving, lasting marriage, or happily ever after, or whatever you want to call it. Hook, line, and sinker, short-term relationship at best. Both of these characters are so boring and blah, and I didn't get any chemistry between the 2 of them, so okay, if they wanted to hook up because it's a small town and they happen to be staying at the same place, I get it. But beyond that, they have nothing. So that happened. I think they could make it barring rough times. They did have their cute moments. They both like value family, so they do have some like common traits. But I really don't think that they understand each other on any emotional level, and I think that if they ever like actually hit any like rough patches in life, they'd struggle to understand what the other person was dealing with and react accordingly. So I feel that they could possibly make it, but I do think the therapy would be would be needed to ensure that's lasting. Faking with benefits was a short-term relationship at best, like as the polyamorous relationship that they are. I don't see Zach being ready for a long-term relationship, even like towards the end of the book, and I don't see Luke comfortably settling into his role with these other 3 people. Lila, she's too busy, bro. She is at the beginning of her girl boss journey. She is too busy to be dealing with 3 men. I'm sorry, no. So, a little darker, we're jumping to some mafia romance. The Sweetest Oblivion. Elena and Nino? I think they could make it barring rough times. I mean, this is kind of difficult because it is mafia romance, so like there's not really another choice. But assuming that they could split up and both live, I think they're kind of in the middle. They're fun and they're hot together, but they don't communicate well and they both internalize things and really jump to conclusions without discussing anything. And then they never resolve any of their issues either. They just hop back in bed, which, I mean, it makes for a fun time. But in terms of like the long term, as long as nothing went wrong in their mafia-laden lives, I think they'd be fine. The Maddest Obsession, soulmates. Literal soulmates. Christian and Gianna, you could not convince me otherwise, okay? Are they complete opposites? Yes. But they see the world very similarly, and they have very similar past traumas. But they have very similar pasts, and they're soulmates. Nothing is keeping either one of these characters from the other. No. The Darkest Temptation never should or would have happened. Excuse me? Okay, I'm not really here for the captor-captive thing already, but there was too much baggage between them before it even started, let alone the stakes during, so no. People wouldn't just like get over that and be like, oh yeah, this could be a fun time. No, don't see it happening. Eloise and the Grump Next Door, a short-term relationship at best, forced proximity, it's the summer, it's kind of like vacation vibes, they're both chillin'. They're kind of like sharing in their grief of someone they both loved. So, you know what, I could see like a short-term relationship lasting literally the summer of months, and then it's over, and then it's done. They don't have anything to connect them past that, and they also have a caution story in both of their lives that they should heed. How to Kiss Your Best Friend? I think that they're lasting. They have a lot of history behind them, and I do think like a deep understanding of each other because they were friends for so long. They're also tied into each other's families and community, so I could see that one lasting. Kings of Chaos, short-term relationship at best, and I get it. You all are using each other to serve your own means. Okay, that's cool. Get your revenge. I can see how you're like, since I'm here getting my revenge, I might as well get something else. So I get that. You know what? So short-term relationship at best, but they have nothing after their revenge. What is going to connect them? Ash Princess. Never would or should have happened in the first place. Okay, she has so much going on and she is so busy. Like, so busy trying to get back her literal kingdom. Also, trying not to be tortured as this prisoner. She's not falling for either of these guys. And in this series, I only read the first book. So I'm thinking like either of the two in the love triangle. Neither. Never would or should have happened with either one of them. No. Your Dad Will Do, soulmates. You know, I really came out strong with that one and I'm trying to justify it in my head now, but my mind just screams, yes. I want these two characters together so bad. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stick with it. Your Dad Will Do, soulmates. I love them together. Gifting Me to His Best Friend, short-term relationship at best. Really all they have is that vacation weekend or whatever it is. And I can see that happening and that's cool, but after the vacation ends, 3 of them have nothing connecting them. My Dad's Best Friend, short-term at best. Again, I get it, you're trapped, there's a storm, you're both attracted to each other. All right. Short-term, have a good weekend, then you're done. Seducing My Guardian, I would still go short-term at best. Same thing, have your weekend or whatever it is, live out your fantasies, get it all out of your system, and then move on with your life. Because again, you have nothing connecting you on like an emotional, mental background basis. To make monsters out of girls, the latter relationship never should have happened. And I get that this is a poetry book and we don't really know who these men are, but throughout the poetry book, she never gets over the original guy. She never gets over her ex, okay? All of her poems are just comparing her guy 2 to guy 1, being like, oh, guy 2 is so much better. And I was like, really? Because you seem to think an awful lot about guy 1. So I really don't think she's over her first dude. So I don't think the second relationship should happen because she's not ready for it. Wretched? I think that lasting. But I mostly think that because they have too much dirt on one another to break up. You can't have someone with that much illegal information on you just wandering the streets. So something would have to happen if they were to break up, i.e. one of them would not be able to live. Sorry. The anti-relationship year, I think that they can make it barring rough times. Now, they've already been through some rough times as friends and made it, but I think it's more like they've built up who they think the other person is or who they would be in a relationship. I don't know if that's actually representative of who they are. So I feel like the relationship would fall apart and they are better off as friends. Okay, the stopover, actually, I'm gonna go never would or should have happened. I don't like the idea of meeting someone on the plane and then taking them back to your hotel room. Like, do you know how gross planes are? No. And then you want to take that, and then it's like a stranger, and you're like, oh yes, here, I'll give you my room number, you stranger that I don't know, and I'm in a hotel, so I'm obviously in like a random city. A, seems dangerous, and B just seems unhygienic. Like, planes are, they just seem like nasty places to me, so never would or should have happened. The takeover, I'm gonna go never would or should have happened too. They have too much animosity and too much baggage between them and too much conflicting interest in their business for that to actually make sense for it to start in the first place. They also don't really see the world the same, and I don't think that he fits into her life. The roommate, short term at best. I don't remember her name, but Josh is so cute and I love him, but I didn't think that they really had lasting chemistry. I think it was really more like a let's explore ourselves, let's have fun, let's kick this off. And then it'll like taper and fizzle, but they'll end up being friends in the end. That was the kind of vibe I was getting. A Court of Thorns and Roses, they could make it barring any rough times. They don't really understand each other, but they try to make the other one happy. And they're both like doing their own thing, but coexisting and enjoying each other's company. So you know what, they can make it barring rough times. A Court of Mist and Fury, people can find me on this, but I'm going to put them in lasting, but I kind of want to put them in they could make it barring any rough times. I don't really like them together. I don't know what it is. Again, they try to make each other happy, but I really don't think they understand each other on that deep of a level. And yes, people are going to lose their minds that I've said that, but I just don't see it. I really don't. To Kill a Kingdom, short-term relationship, you know what? No. Never would or should have happened to begin with. They both set out to kill each other. How do you fall into a relationship after that? Potentially. Like, no. I feel like one of you would be dead before you would ever even have that conversation. So, never would or should have happened. Shadow in the Ember, I honestly want to say soulmates, actually. And I'm a little surprised that I'm saying that with them, because I didn't really love the story. But I truly do think that these two, I think that they kind of understand each other and have the same concepts of death, which sounds really dark, but given the context of the story, I feel like that's like very integral. And I don't think that if one lost the other, the original one would be okay ever again, or could just like go on with their lives. So I really do think that it's their ride or die. The fine print never would or should have happened in the first place. I've said this probably every time I've brought this book up, but he is a workplace harassment suit waiting to happen. And never should have happened in the first place, him and the girl. No. Throne of Glass, I haven't read beyond the first book, to be honest. And I know there's other characters to get introduced. So in terms of the first book, I don't think it would have happened with either of the two dudes. But the princess, I low-key want her to be with the princess, because I think that they're lasting. So I'm going to say that. I don't even know if that's a couple or if that's going to be a thing, or what, but I think her and the princess have very similar ideas of loyalty and strength and just like really strong leadership qualities, and I think that they would respect and love each other, and I'm here for them, and I really hope that that's the story I'm going to be getting throughout the rest of the series. The shadows between us, I think that they're lasting, okay? They're both a little evil and have some problematic trends in their ruling capabilities, but they both enjoy the problematic sides of one another, and their problematic sides complement one another. So, you know what? They're lasting. Beckett Pierce. I feel like they could make it barring rough times, and this was like the first romance I read, I think, at the beginning of the year of 2022, so I don't fully remember it. I remember I didn't like it, but I do remember that they like danced in the kitchen, and he had a crush on her forever. So based off of that, I really can't, I'm putting them in the middle because I can't say strongly either way otherwise because I don't really remember. The Sea Witch never would or should have happened in the first place. You guys are, you're supposed to like love each other, I think. Ultimately, I don't think there's any connection or loyalty between them all. I don't think there's any love, and I think it's mostly manipulation and just sex. So again, just call it what it is and keep it that way. Okay, Carval never would or should have happened in the first place. Okay, no. She had such better things to be doing, like life-dependent things she should be doing and thinking about and planning and like strategizing, and she's just like, but he's so cute. And I'm like, girl, you're busy. Focus up here because your sister's life literally depends on you figuring things out. So I just don't think it should have happened. I really don't. The Beast, I think that they're lasting. Potentially even soulmates, but I don't think they're quite there. But they communicate really well. All their kinks play really well together. And they're freaking adorable, and I love them. So I think that they're lasting, and they would make it. The Cruel Prince never would or should have happened in the first place. Jude deserves the freaking world, and he, okay, because no spoilers, he is not it, okay? He is not it. He was a threat to your life. Multiple times. He's also kind of useless and very annoying, and he's like a frat boy on steroids. The whole group is a frat house on steroids. Kingdom of the Wicked, I think that they're lasting. I really like them together. I haven't finished the series, but I really like them together, and you can't tell me otherwise. But there's a lot of secrets between them, and they don't tend to communicate. They both like bottle things up and get very suspicious of one another, which is unfortunate and not really conducive to a lasting relationship. But I'm really hoping that they get over that in the third book, because I do sense the chemistry there, and I think that they work. Okay? And that could just be hopeful thinking on my end, because I really like the series, but I'm gonna put it there because it's my list. Defy the Night, I don't really know where to put this one, because I really loved this book, but I focused more on like the political dynamics than their relationship. Honestly, I feel like it never would or should have happened in the first place. Morals and their approach to life and their approach to treating other people are very, very different. And I think that there would be too many clashes of opinion and belief for it to be anything except destructive. The Iron King, I think short-term relationship at best with either of them, you know? Because again, there's like a love triangle in there. And I think either really short-term. Like one, you've known him for a while, short-term fun before you go, I have no emotions towards you other than friendly. And then the Ice Prince just being like, you were kind of fun when you were all like mysterious and cold, but then once your personality developed past that point, I realized you don't have a personality past that point, and I'm bored. When you're tied up saving the world, truly you'd need to have met your soulmate in order for me to be like, yes, this would last, or this should have happened in the first place. A worthy opponent, I'm thinking lasting, but they wouldn't die if they lost each other, and saying that, I think that Hook would die. I think Hook is way more into Tink than Tink is into Hook, but I think as a couple, they would be lasting. These Hollow Vows, short-term relationship at best, and again, it's a triangle. I haven't read the second one yet, So just from the first one, it is a triangle. So on the one hand, I would think you could have short-term relationship, honestly, like pre-start of the book with the first guy, and then the second guy, like throughout the first book, kind of, because you're bored and you have a lot of downtime, and yeah, you're busy, but you're not that busy, you know? So I think short-term relationship at best for both. The Bridge Kingdom, I think they could make it work, barring rough times, but they have very different opinions on how to run a kingdom and beliefs as to what people are entitled to and how people should operate. And I think when you're in charge of running a kingdom, that can be very, very problematic when your co-ruler or your like potential co-ruler doesn't understand the world the same as you do. So I think they might be able to make it, barring any rough times, but if they were confronted with like a war or an uprising or something like that, they would fall apart. Serpent and Dove never would or should have happened in the first place. What? This is another thing where like one of them would just end up dead before they even had the conversation of like, hey, you're potentially cute. Like, no, just no. Literally no. Neon Gods, they are lasting. Okay? A, their kings play so well together. Okay, such a hot book. And B, they would work things through. They're both strive to do better in their lives and strive to take care of the people around them. So I think that their outlook and approach to life really does align with each other. And again, you kind of need that in rulers in order for it to be like both a cohesive reign, but in this context, like a cohesive relationship. So I do think that they would be lasting. Electric Idol never would or should have happened in the first place, because one of the characters would be dead before that discussion even began. Also, they don't have a lot in common. Also, I don't like them together. Also, just no. So never would or should have happened in the first place. A Touch of Darkness, short-term relationship at best. Like, okay, you're bored and you're on this like bet mission essentially, but it's not really do or die. And you have some time to kill, so I get it. Okay, so again, have your fun. I'm all here for that. Doesn't mean it needs to become more than that though. From Blood and Ash, I think that they are lasting. They do communicate really well, and I do think that they love each other. I don't think that they're soulmates, frankly, because I think Poppy would be absolutely fine on her own. He, on the other hand, if he lost Poppy, he would lose himself. So I think he thinks that they're soulmates, but from her perspective, I don't see them as soulmates, but they're lasting, and they do complement each other, and they do work well together and kind of understand things in a similar way, as well, have like shared backstory and shared traumas, which really I do think helps them understand each other better. Storm and Fury. I've only read the first one of this trilogy so far, and I feel like it's short term at best. Like, you're new around here, and she's just like, let me see what's up. Let me see if I'm interested. In terms of like the long term, I think one's power way outranks the other, and I don't think he's going to be able to cope with that dynamic. So I don't think that they're going to make it past short term. White Hot Kiss. I think that they're lasting. They're still kind of young, but they have like a lot against them already. I think they are lasting because I do think they understand the world in a very similar way and understand each other to a degree. Crank, that's a short-term relationship at best. That's literally a one-night stand and you're done. Why they pushed it past that point, I don't understand. I really don't. Sinners Condemned. I think that they're lasting. They already have enough against them, but they have shared backgrounds, shared, not necessarily outlook on life, but yes, that exactly to a degree. Heartless. I think that they could make it, barring any rough times. Respectfully, it's pretty hard for someone who didn't grow up in like a farm community to become a farmer's wife or a rancher's wife. I'm not saying it never happens, but you really have to know the life you're stepping into in order for that to work long term, and I really don't think she has any idea. And I think this is just kind of like, she had fun in the summer and was just like, oh, this is fun, but doesn't really understand what she's potentially agreeing to. So I think that they can make it barring any rough times, but I don't know if she would be in it for the long haul or if she would be like, you know what, it's time I step away. Twisted emotions, they're lasting, okay? They have incredible communication, and Nino is not letting anything come between them. I don't think they're necessarily soulmates because I think that they would both get over if they lost the other one, but I think that they're happy together. Twisted pride never would or should have happened in the first place. Literally F Remo. We are not here for that. He did too much. He can't come back from that. So no thank you. Meet me halfway. I'm really struggling to remember the difference between Meet Me Halfway and 1% of You because they're both very similar and I read them almost back to back. I'm gonna say 1% of You, they would be lasting because from what I remember of that one, they did have like strong communication and they didn't necessarily understand each other in the beginning, but then they grew to, and he also has like a shared background with her present kind of thing. So they do have that level of understanding between them. Meet Me Halfway, they do have that same, like he shares the background of her present, but I don't remember them really developing their communication to a great extent. So I'm gonna go with short term, but see, I don't see her hopping into a short term, so I'm gonna go with never should or would have happened. Because he was also just a dick in the beginning, and I don't think she would pursue that for him to get over it, and then without his understanding of her, I don't think he would pursue it the other way. The Predator never would or should have happened. He's a little creepy. Okay, he is a little creepy. So, no thank you. Also, this is like another instance of, I feel like on your first meeting, one of you just would have ended up dead before any conversation could have happened. And I know why it didn't end like that, which brings me back to my first part of just no, because that's weird. Because that's weird. And if you get it, you get it. But can't do spoilers. Ignite, they're a short-term relationship at best. I really don't think they developed outside of the bedroom or the couch or whatever. They were having their fun times, but I didn't see the connection there. They were hot, but I didn't see an emotional connection form. Taste, never would or should have happened. What? What? Like, you're trying to sell me that they have this animosity and then suddenly it's just gone because they have to share a hotel room? You can still dislike somebody in close proximity to them. I'm confused. Okay, tease. I think they could make it barring rough time. I feel like I just keep repeating myself, but their communication really is not there. It is not there. But I do think that they understand each other and they have been friends for a long time, so they do understand the way the other one thinks. So that's why I'm like, they could make it barring rough times, but they'd actually need to learn to talk to each other and not rely solely on their history to understand one another. Tempt, they're lasting. Quite politely, they are lasting. They are so cute together. They are so cute together, but they're also healthy in the sense where if they lost one another or if the relationship did end, they would both continue on and I think could be happy with other people as well. But in terms of each other, they are lasting. I love them together. The seventh circle, short term at best. This is another situation where it's like polyamorous, but it's guys aren't dating the guys, they're just dating her. I think that brings complicated dynamics into like a polyamorous situation if not everyone is involved with one another. So I think that already is a struggle. I think that there's some conflicts of interest with one of the guys, and I think there's too much baggage with another one, and then too much distance from one of the guy's worlds to her world for that one to work out. So I honestly don't think it's lasting between the entire group, nor between her and any individual guy. But I love her, but those are all short-term relationships. Captured by a sinner, personally, never should have happened in the first place. And again, I'm not really here for captured captive. I'm really not. And I can't really say why it shouldn't have happened without spoiling it, but it was just weird and felt very forced. I've been careless with a delicate thing. They're lasting, okay? Their communication develops throughout, okay? But I just think that they're both so cute and they do try to provide what the other one needs, and they are like willing to be like open and vulnerable with each other. So I adore them and I think they're so cute together and they are lasting. Heat Haven, I'm gonna say they could make it barring rough times. Just seemed to develop really, really fast, and he seemed very set on like him and her only. And that doesn't really seem to be a dynamic that works in the Omegaverse. So I just think he would get a little too jealous or possessive and it would just all fall apart. Omega's obsession, honestly, I think that they're lasting. I think all 4 of them are lasting, okay? They balance each other out. There's dynamics between everyone in the group. And then there's group dynamics which complement, and they all kind of play to the other one's needs in different ways that it all works out. Mistborn, the end of the first book, it's short-term relationship at best. I just think they're from two entirely separate worlds, and they have so much between them, and I really don't think their class difference would be something easily overcame, or their understanding of how the other one operates. They think very differently, and they're both on such extreme ends of the spectrum. I don't see them finding a middle ground in pretty much any topic of conversation. And with all the upheaval that's going on around them, or potential to go on around them, I don't think that's a relationship that they can sustain. Cherry Bomb is a short-term relationship. That is a couple flings, and then you're done. Sorry. Midnight Kiss never would or should have happened in the first place. That guy was so creepy. He was creepy right from the beginning, and then you find out his motivations, and he gets even creepier. So, no. Never would or should have happened in the first place. Hellfire, short-term relationship at best. This is really a case of like they are working together, and for the time that they're working together, I can understand having some spice on the side. I get it. I see it. I love it. But after they've accomplished what they set out in the beginning to accomplish, I don't really see a point to them continuing their shenanigans. And I don't really see any connection between their personalities or anything like that. So I think they're a short-term relationship at best. So the Mindfuck series, or The Risk, I have it here as, I want to put short-term at best. And I love Lana, I really do. I don't see Lana ever actually settling down into one relationship, and I don't see these two long-term. I can't see it. I can't see it. Desperate Measures, okay, they're lasting. I really do believe that, because they have solid outlooks on how things are accomplished and how certain things operate, and also, again, their kinks play nicely together. But I don't think that they're soulmates, and I actually think, how am I gonna say this? In the end of the book, the one on top might kill the other one, like after the book, if you know what I mean. But I think the power dynamic will undermine the relationship potentially, which is why I don't think that they're soulmates necessarily, because I could see the one in the end taking out the other one and still continuing their life in a very, very good way. The Doctor, short-term relationship at best, and I am only putting them there and not in never would or should have, because this is ex's dad trope, which is my favorite trope, so I enjoyed it. So like, short-term relationship at best, but they really had nothing connecting them beyond that at all. Bitten by Death, short-term relationship at best. I didn't see any major connection between them. I liked Vivian, and I loved the Little Reapers and how she would play with the dogs. But between actually like her and the guy, I don't see them working out long term. I just don't think they have a lot connecting them or a lot in common, or that I really felt any chemistry between the two of them. For Frost, I actually think I'm going to put them into lasting, and I've only read the first book, but the second one comes out I think this month, so I will be getting on that. But I actually think that they developed well together, and you can sense the chemistry, and you can sense the emotions behind their motives, and also like a change in their motives. So I actually think that they could be lasting, which is pretty bold, because I've only read the first book and there was some conflict in there for sure, but I think I could see it. Haunting Adeline never would or should have happened in the first place. What? I'm sorry. What? No, this is not how it ends up when someone just leaves roses around your house and stalks you and sends you hands in a box. It's not. No, they never should have happened, ever, at all. No, this man needs to be in jail. Water Under the Bridge, I think they are lasting, because I think that they're both hypocrites, but hypocrites in the same way. They kind of share the same morals, but only to an extent, and then they diverge at the same place. So as a couple, I think that it works. I think that they could work. Theirs for the night, I mean, short-term relationship at best. Okay, go have a spicy time after the bar, but they have no connection beyond that. It's a one-night stand. It is what it is. Again, just call it what it is. It's a series. I only read the first one. I'm not gonna finish that one. Hush Darling, they are lasting. They are very cute, and their traumas complement each other. Not in the fact that they're the same or that it offers a better understanding of one another, but literally just that they work out for the situation that they find themselves in. With Force, I'm gonna say lasting as well, just because they were friends for so long and they've had a shared traumatic experience. So that really, I think, bonded them before the book even started. And then they do have really good communication throughout and a very good support system with their friends who they're very open with. And if anything did arise, they would work it out. The Fantasy League never would or should have happened in the first place. What? This man has zero, and I mean zero, communicative ability. Zero! And it's not just like, oh, I'm awkward, or oh, I'm shy, or oh, I'm introverted. No! You were inept. Like, that might be a little harsh, but he's also mean in his ineptness, and I just don't see it happening at all, and I don't see the connection between them, and it never should have even began. No. Literally no. Brutal Prince, I actually do think that they're lasting. They come from similar upbringings in the sense that they were both raised in like the mafia world. They want power, or they want to succeed for the same reasons, so they share motivation, and their strengths play really well together in terms of getting that power. So I think that they're lasting. Forbidden Fling, it's a short-term relationship at best. It's a fun, spicy time, and then, like, okay, peace out, you know? It is what it is. Ruthless Demon King, I feel like, again, short-term relationship at best. Okay, so you're bored, and you want to see how a Demon King lives and does other stuff. Okay, I get it, I see it, but I didn't see any connection beyond that. Mind you, I only read the first book, and they didn't interact that much in it, so maybe it picks up as the series goes on, but I think that they're just a short, spicy time. Dirty Little Secret, talk about a short, spicy time, okay? Also, actually, you know what? No, never would or should have happened in the first place, because her friends really sewered her in like the opening chapter of this book, and people that do that really aren't your friends. That was a little messed up. So I don't really even think the text exchange should have happened at all. And without that, I really don't see them kicking it off in any way. So I just don't think it would have naturally happened. The Spanish love dissection, I think they could make it barring rough times. And in saying that, I think they could make it, but they would definitely need therapy, because I'm sorry, but Catalina needs to work on her communication skills and trust Aaron. Because he's in it. Like, he is in it, but she is not. And I think she wants to be, but I think her past is really holding her back. But she needs to get over that, and I think she actually might need some professional help to work through that kind of baggage. Carnival of Souls never would or should have happened to begin with. I'm thinking mostly Mallory and Caleb. What even was that? Instant love with nothing to back it up. Not even by the end of the book was there anything to back up this like insta love connection. I didn't see it, I didn't like it, I didn't want it, and they never would or should have happened in the first place, because it makes literally zero sense. The kiss quotient, I think short-term relationship at best. I did think this book was very cute, but I don't actually think that she wants a relationship, and I think she mostly went for one because her mother was pressuring her into it. But I think she's happy with her life and her career. If that's all she needs, then that's all she needs, and I don't really think it was fair of her mother to push or to like apply that kind of pressure. And I do think that she's going to come to the realization eventually. She's like, well, I've learned all I need to learn, and this isn't for me, or I would rather be working on my career. So I just don't see her in a long-term relationship. Sacrifice, I mean, I guess a short-term relationship, and when I say relationship, I mean hookup, because they're literally trapped together. So, okay. It's not like she's busy. None of them have anything else to do. So, okay, so you have a short, spicy time, but I don't really see anything connecting them beyond that whatsoever. House of Lies and Sorrow, again, I would say short term. They have no trust. They have no trust between them, and it doesn't seem like they're about to develop it anytime soon, or that they're even trying for that. And the story just seems to be trying to jump to like create tension without building any sort of connection. I could see them as like a short-term fun time, but I don't see them like sticking it out. The Never King, short term. Honestly, Winnie's just in it while she's in Neverland, and that's fine, and we love that, but I don't see her sticking around there forever, but it is a fun time while she's there. Birthday Girl, I think, is a short-term relationship at best, and I do love it because, again, it's X's dad, but she's very young, and I don't see her being in this relationship forever. And I know that age gaps can work and all that, blah, 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 blah. But I truly do think that this is her just kind of like figuring things out and getting out of her first like crappy relationship. So she's all in for now, but I think she's gonna come to realize that A, she's missing out on some things, and B, Pike is boring. I don't think she's in it long term. I think he could be in it long term, but I don't think she is. Praise, again, short-term relationship at best. So maybe X's dad is my favorite trope, but apparently I don't see them sticking it out because I have 3 of them sitting right here in short term. But they're just, it's fun and it's a spicy time and it's a good way to get over your ex and get a little bit of revenge. But I don't really see them sticking it out forever. Eyes on Me never would or should have happened. This was so creepy. This was so creepy. To me, he crossed so many lines. Never would or should have happened. No. Give me more. I think that they are lasting. Absolutely. I adore them. Like all 3 of them. I think that they're perfect together. I love them together. I don't think that they would die if they lost one another. I think that they would recover and be sad, obviously, but get over it. So I'm putting them in lasting. But again, it's that sense of like healthy, you know? Like you shouldn't be dying if your partner dies or not being able to recover. But I think they're healthy and perfect for each other. All of them. Mercy, short-term relationship at best. Okay, I get it. You met online. You wore masks. You didn't know who the other one was in the beginning. So you can have your short, fun time. But as soon as you find out who the other person is, end of story. End of story. It's over. There's nothing, you didn't have enough built up in the beginning to overcome what you guys found out. So no, they're a short, spicy secret time at best. But that is all the books with romance I read in 2022. So honestly, I'm not shocked that I only have 4 up here, but I'm a little shocked that it's these 4. But I'm standing by my decisions. Lasting, I have a fair amount. They could make it. I was like, maybe. Yeah, and then I have a lot of short terms and never would or should have happened in the first place. I do read a lot of romance, but I really need to be sold that this romance makes sense and that they're together for a reason. And as we can see in the list, quite often, I don't see them together. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy the book, but I don't see them lasting. And not everything has to last. Not everything needs to be a happily ever after, but romances tend to claim that. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you guys had fun. If you disagree with any of my rankings, leave a comment down below, convince me otherwise, really sell me on a couple you love. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. I post every Tuesday and Friday, so I will see you guys all on the next one. See ya!